Hi, within this lecture, we're going to finalize our ethical hacking tool by adding getting input from the user feature for these IP addresses. I'm going to use argument parse or opt parse in order to do that. And I believe at this point you can do it on your own. So feel free to pause the video here and try to do it on your own. I hope you managed to do that. So let me show you my solution. I will create a new function called get user input, and this will be the same as we did in the previous sections. Okay, in here I will use a parse object and just create an opt parse dot option parser instance. Okay, and I will use this parse object to add my first option. So what do I want from user? I want two IPs, right? One is for target and the other one is for router. So I'm going to use two options in here as well. So first, let me call this -t as it stands for target, and you can add another thing called target as well. So we are going to store this in destination, and let me give this a variable name like target IP. So this will be clear, okay, and add and help and say enter target IP. So we're gonna do the same thing for router IP. So I'm going to add this option here, and you may call it whatever you want. I will call this gateway, okay? So --gateway and G for gateway, okay? And I'm going to save this under destination gateway underscore IP, and for help I will say enter gateway IP, or just you could have said enter router IP. It really doesn't matter. So after this, I will just get my parsed objects and cast it to be a tuple. Of course, it gives me options and arguments as we have seen before, and you have to say parse object dot parse arguments. And in fact, let's do this like this. Let's give 0 in here and delete the arguments from here and just use the options, right? So it will be still the same thing. And under options, you can get options.target IP and options.gateway IP. So let me do the same thing once more. If not options target underscore IP, it means that there has to be an error with the target IP. So I'm going to say to the user enter target IP, okay? And we should do the same thing for gateway IP as well. If not options.gateway IP, okay, gateway IP, then I will say print enter gateway IP to the user. If these two if statements do not get called, it means that everything is alright. So I will return my options here, so that later on I can use these options.gateway IP and options.target IP. So we are done with this get user input. Now above try, before we go into the while loop, we have to get the target IP and router IP and give it to these ARP poisoning functions. So above here, let's create a user IP, and it's going to be equal to user IPs actually get user input, okay? And from that user IPs, I will create a user target IP, and this will be user IPs dot target underscore IP. And the second thing is that we need a user gateway IP, okay? not target IP but user gateway IP. Okay, not the same thing. So you have to say user IPs dot gateway IP. So now I have two IPs. I can just supply this into my ARP poisoning and reset functions down below. So in the ARP poisoning part, now I have 10.02.8. Now I'm deleting this and just giving to user target IP. And instead of this, let me delete this quotation marks as well, say user gateway IP. Again, user gateway IP this time, and user target IP in here. Are we done yet? Of course not, because we have a reset function as well. Let me just give user target IP here, user gateway IP in here. And as you can see, we managed to create a very professional man-in-the-middle attack script and ethical hacking tool for ourselves. I believe this is a very good way to execute this ARP poisoning. So let me control if we have anything left behind. No, we're running T. Yeah, I missed a dash here. Okay, so I have to say -G and 2 dashes gateway. Yeah, it seems okay to me. I believe now we are ready to test the final version of our ARP spoofing attack. So let me go back here, and rather than saying just my ARP poison.py, I will say -T 10.02.8 and -G 10.02.1. So if I hit enter, then it will start sending packets. Let me go back to my Windows and run ARPA. As you can see, I am successful in changing this MAC addresses. If I hit Ctrl+C here, it will quit and reset the MAC address. And if I run ARPA once more, then it really succeeds changing back to the MAC address of the router. So finally, we are done here. I hope you enjoyed this session, and maybe you're wondering right now, how do we explore the data when we are in the middle? Yeah, we will create a listener for that, but we're going to do that in the next section.